the Telecaster, in comparison to a Strat, or in contrast, has three distinctive sounds. This selector here allows you to play strictly on just this pickup, which again, this is electronic or magnetic field that it's picking up the string signal. So I can play on this setting, and I have more of kind of a jazzy, maybe blues kind of sound. Which is kind of a darker, I guess, for this instrument, or a more round, dark sound. Okay. The second position is between these two pickups, so it's actually these two together, but it's wired in a way that it doesn't sound like two pickups stacked on top of each other. It sounds very clucky, kind of quacky, I guess you could say. Very clear. A lot of people like to play their rhythm parts on something like this because it's clear for chords. And it's just very, very apparent. Okay, this position here is the bridge pickup, and this is the kind of the signature Tele sound. This kind of has a very clucky, very quacky sound, but not like the middle position. It's very twangy. So it kind of has a kind of the signature country sound to it. As far as the rest of the guitar, like I said before, it's very simple. This guy operates your tone control, which is just from more normal bright sound to a dark sound. And that works for any of the positions. This guy is just my volume. Very straightforward. And that's about it. This is where you plug in your cable for the amplifier. And that about does it.
Okay, I'm here with Joshua LeBreton at Guitar Acadiana, and he's going to explain to us some of the differences about Telecasters.
Oh.
Yeah, you.
Oh, do we do a question first, or?
Yeah. Can you? Yeah, I'll do the question. That's fine.
Okay, whatever you want to do.
So, how long have you played Telecaster?
Okay, I've played Telecasters since I was 15, so coming up on 10 years.
And what kind of Telecaster do you own?
I own two Teles. This is one of them. This is actually a kind of a replica of a Fender Telecaster. It's a handmade guitar by a company called LSL. And also have a hand-built guitar from a guy here in Lafayette named Guillaume Alice, and its replicas are clones, you could say, of a Telecaster, made to sound and feel like the ones of the 50s and 60s, which are kind of the original era of those guitars. So I prefer the kind of, the vintage appointment, kind of old-style construction methods of Teles.
Have you ever owned a Stratocaster? And if so, what's the difference between a Stratocaster and a Telecaster?
I've owned 3 Stratocasters, actually. The main differences would be that the Stratocaster, where the Tele has 2 pickups, and these pickups basically magnetically pick up the string vibrations to create sound through the amplifier, or send sound through the amplifier. Whereas the Tele has 2, the Strat has 3. Also, the sound of those 3 pickups versus these particular 2 are different. Let's see. Also, the Tele is kind of more of a block of wood, whereas the Strat tends to have curves and contours and even a horn or 2 on the side. That's about the difference, I'd say.
Can you explain why you prefer the Telecaster over the Stratocaster?
No, I can't explain that. No, I'm just kidding. I prefer the Tele because, and Tele is short for Telecaster, pardon my slang there. I prefer the Telecaster mainly for the way it feels. I like that it's kind of just a block of wood. It's very simple. It's very kind of an organic instrument. It does have a different sound. Telecasters are kind of synonymous, I think, with country music. So they have kind of more of a twangy kind of sound to them, especially in this back bridge pickup area. And mainly I just think they're very, I guess, kind of a square wave of an instrument sound, whereas the Strat is a little rounder, a little cleaner. There's a little bit more meat to a Telecaster, I think, even though they're very similar in sound.
Lots of Telecaster fans say that the Tele is more versatile. Would you agree? And if so, what makes it more versatile?
I think the Telecaster is not more versatile to the average player because it technically only has really 2 options, or you could say 3 if you get in between these 2 pickups, which is what this is here, selecting between 3 different positions. The Stratocaster, I guess, would have more versatility in that respect, but I think people say the Telecaster is versatile because it could really do a lot of styles of music easily, whereas the Strat kind of gets, you know, pinned in certain styles easier because of its very prominent kind of cornered sound, I guess you could say, whereas the Tele kind of has the same thing. But I think the Telecaster is more simple, so it can be used for more applications more quickly, whereas the Strat may be more versatile, but I think it has a little bit fewer applications in a quick sense. Does that make any sense at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are your preferred styles of playing on your Telecaster?
Well, I mainly play a lot of praise and worship music, so I guess that's kind of what I do with it these days. But I think it can do anything. I really like country music, especially just the country sound and the technique of their guitar players. So I guess I tend to play more kind of melodic, pretty stuff for the, you know, the praise and worship music, and I just like the technique and the snap of the country players. But I mean, this is kind of this style of guitar started country music, I guess arguably, you know. So it's kind of tough not to want to get into those sounds if you really like a Telecaster. It's kind of a second nature thing for this guitar, I think.
Sweet.